you are on the table. We know there's been no league wins at the moment.
Yeah.
There's been quite good performances.
Yeah.
So you think glass half full, glass half empty?
Well, definitely. I don't think there's anything beneficial from being negative. I think you're right in what you say about we have to take responsibility for improving results and being in the league position that we want. So we shouldn't ignore that. But we also got to make sure that we really believe in what we're doing, and we try and build on the positives that have been for sure in our performances, while addressing stuff that we need to improve on as well. But I think in a situation that can be classed as a tough time, you have to be positive, because I think if you're the opposite, I don't think that's beneficial in any way, shape or form. And as always in football, if you like, and certainly at Premier League level, there's always an opportunity, and the opportunity for us now is to get our first win, is to get some good results and climb up the table, and that's what our sort of present ambition is to attack that fully. And I really see a good, I keep saying this, but it's the truth. I see a really good desire from the guys. I see a really good motivation and spirit, and in the right way, a desperation to get that win and hopefully kick on from there. But getting that win is the first protocol for sure.
How important is it?
Anton, sorry, can you pop the volume up on the mic? I think it's muted. You just slide that up.
It's me that did that.
Further up the mic. That's it. There we go.
Do you want to mute mine?
Completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't be daft, it's my fault. How important is it then to go into the international break?
Yeah.
With not just a positive performance, but a positive result?
No, we need a result for sure. We want a result. That's where a lot of course, your narratives are written, and that's what we want. We're in it. We are in a world where results dictate so many things. Of course, behind that, we have to look at the preparation, the performance, the reviews, and all that. That's our job. But in the end, all of that is to try and get a team performing well enough to win games. So absolutely, we're really committed and really want to get the right result going into the international break. Not just because it's international break, it's because we want anyway. So yeah, really want to attack the game on Saturday. Desperate for our supporters to see their team win and play well in the process. And we've really got to take responsibility now for making that happen.
You say you want to attack the games. Goal scoring has been pretty consistent so far this season. Is it the other end where it needs to?
Well, clearly, I mean, it's always the most important things, isn't it? Is keeping the ball out of your net and putting it in the opponent. So and like I said, I think we've been good for a goal or two in a game, and creating big chances, and we've got to keep that going and even strive to improve on that, and be stronger at the other end of the pitch to not get low in the games, not be in a low block as quick as what we have sometimes found ourselves, and then when we are not let the opponents turn them into chances. So yeah, that's the constant cycle of game preparation and improvement, and we're no different to anybody else. And like I said, that's a big part of us going forward.
4 of the next 5 in the Premier League against teams in the bottom half. How important is it that you make the most of these games with teams around you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we are dressing it up like that, because we're very much one game at a time, and I think particularly with the international break coming after, we are just focused on Bournemouth. We're at home. Yeah, all attention is to the detail of what we believe it takes to win. I think that at this level you have to have game plans, you have to deliver, and you're coming up against good teams week in, week out with good coaches. But this also is a situation where mentality is key, and focus and belief, and really standing up and getting the job done, and that's a big part of our work this week. And I really hope that we can deliver that for us and for the supporters and everybody else connected to the club on the weekend. Thanks, Anton. Thank you. Hi, Av.
Hi, Steve. It's a fine balance, isn't it, building a team that you want to build,
Yeah.
which sometimes can take time. You may even need to take a step backwards to take
Yeah.
2 forwards in the long run. But then you've got to balance that against the urgent demand
Of winning.
that's placed on you, quite rightly,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose, to
Yep.
win.
Yep.
How do you achieve that balance?
Yeah, I think I mean it's a really good question, that, because the first part of the question is not always something that you can talk about and it's accepted, even though it can be more important in the longer term than the second part of the question about what was the result last week and what's it going to be next week, because that's really important as well. And what everyone quite rightly and understandably will focus on is just the latter part of the question, is just the result. And I get that, and we and I are no different from anybody else. But the first part of the question is very much where we are as well, is trying to become a Premier League team again. It's a Premier League club in every way, shape or form. We know that, and the recent history of Premier League years tells you that. But at this moment, we've got to make sure that we deliver on the pitch on a weekly basis a Premier League team performance and at the level, and that's what we're trying to become. And some bits, as Anton quite rightly says, have been really, really good. But there's other bits where we've got to get better at, and that's the challenge of the team. That's the challenge for myself and the staff, the challenge of coaching, the challenge of elite performance, and we want to thrive in these moments. There is nothing better than coming through a difficult time. There is nothing better than coming through a difficult time, because when you do, you're in such a much better place because of the learning that takes place. And there's no doubt that although it doesn't sometimes feel it, when results are not going your way and performances, elements of it you like to be a bit different, that it's not always easy to take, but there's also an awareness that some really important learning takes place, and when you do get through it, it does allow you to have a better sort of mid to longer term. So that's what I keep saying to the players, like, what an opportunity we have. What an opportunity we have now to get through this little spell, and hopefully it is only a little spell, come through the other side of it and allow us to kick on. But we've got to get through it, and that's where we're at.
Bournemouth come into this off the back of a good win, obviously. What do you think makes them tick?
Yeah, good, dangerous players, top end of the pitch and a clear way of playing. Obviously, they've had spells since, and the manager's been there in his second year now, but they've had some good spells where they've picked up some good runs of results, and that's through the back of how they play, which is really clear. So we're very aware of that, and but also very aware of the impact that we can have in the game. And I always say that most weeks, but I really believe in, for us to win a game, we need to make sure that it's our impact that has the biggest influence on that. So yeah, we're ready for a very sort of energetic Bournemouth team, which is what they are, and clear in how they play, and dangerous, very dangerous with it. We're very aware and ready for that, but we're also, going to make sure we're well prepared ourselves as well.
You've been in the game long enough, Steve. You do need to develop quite a thick skin, don't you?
No, it's thick already.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I was going to say, how does criticism affect you? Because you're obviously aware people are anxious to see that first win over the line.
Yeah, I don't. I certainly don't hide away from it, and I've always sort of not make the effort, but always make sure I'm more visible and more vocal and more upfront than maybe when things are going well. I think that's the role of a leader. That's the role of a manager, and that's definitely what I want to be. So I certainly don't hide away from anything. I never have done, and I never will do. Criticism is a motivation, and so is praise. Praise is a motivation as well. So I'm no different to anybody else. Some days you get too much praise, and sometimes you get a lot of criticism, and through different times you have both of them things. So I just take it as it comes, really believe in my work, really believe in myself, and definitely believe in the players. And like I said, there is nothing better than getting through what can be perceived as a difficult time.
Brilliant. Thank you. Good
Thank
luck on the
you.
weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Simon. We'll go to Jack. BBC Radio Leicester.
Hi Steve, you okay? How's the squad looking in terms of injuries? Any fresh concerns?
Yeah, unfortunately Hamza dislocated his shoulder yesterday in training, in a very unfortunate sort of innocuous situation. So still working out the extent of how long he will be out, because it's settling down, but it's certainly going to be a little while. So like I said, whether that's weeks or months, we're not quite sure yet, because it can be quite complicated. But he's no longer with us. Yannick has started training fully today, so he's back with the group. And yeah, there's been a couple of kicks from some players that we've had to manage through the week that have not trained yet. But hopefully they're just getting over that now, and we'll see if they're available for the weekend.
That Hamza injury, you said innocuous, just
Yeah,
one of those things in training.
Just a really unfortunate situation. Just a normal duel, a normal challenge, no foul or anything like that. And unfortunately, his shoulder ended up on the wrong side of an awkward position.
It was interesting hearing you talk quite positively about what you can get out of getting through a tough run and a tough challenge. I was going to say, it was interesting that you're playing Bournemouth this weekend. I think it was game week 10. They had to wait for their first win last year, October 28th, and they finished 12th.
Yeah.
Is that, at the very least, evidence that even if the first win does take a while, it can, be building on good foundations to have a good season? Listen,
I think unless you're finishing in, I don't know, maybe 8th, 7th in the Premier League, everybody goes through a spell of not a lot of points, and that is the nature of the Premier League, So if ours is now, I hope it's coming to the end. But it's, although nobody likes it and nobody really wants to accept it, it is a matter of fact, really, that when you are at a certain part of the Premier League, that you do go through a spell of games where you'd like more points than what you get. And although there's no shame in it, you very much want to deal with it and get through it. So at the moment we're 6 games without a win. I would say that there's no point in looking back. I've said it a number of times now. We could have won that game, and we could have done better in that game, and all that sort of stuff. It's been and gone. We've very much got to look forward now and take our situation for what it is. Look at it positively, but with ambition and motivation to go, we get through this, and we can be in a really good place, And that's what we've got. That's what's got to drive us every day, and that's what we're doing, But we've got to turn up on Saturday.
You spoke about it after the Arsenal game. It felt like that game was almost quite showing of the season as a whole, actually, that there was parts of the game that you struggled in, but then other parts where you really held your own against a team that's going to be going for the title. You think start the second half against Arsenal, but the first half against Palace, second half against Tottenham. What can you actually do on the training ground to turn those moments and being able to get the goals into a 90-minute performance? Yeah,
and probably respectfully from somebody different in the room, I've been asked that question every week, really, haven't I? And without apologising for repeating myself, it's first of all sort of going through that sort of cycle of what's not gone well or going well, and how we need to improve, and what is going well, and how do we keep it going and still improve that sort of thing, turning it into a sort of concentration for 90 minutes of performing with and without the ball at the right level, 90 plus minutes. So yeah, it's you're quite right to ask the question, but until we get that win and that performance that deserves the win, it's going to be a constant question. And that's going back to Ivan's question about what we're trying to become and build in and trying to improve from being a championship team to a Premier League team. Take a little bit of time. All of that is put into the mix day in, day out, and we're still going, but we're committing to what we believe in. We're really backing the players, encouraging them to back themselves and each other, because that's really important. And I hope that you know, the results, you know, are what we want.
And just briefly looking ahead to the international break, Casey McAteer has been called up by Ireland again. He was obviously involved in the last international break. We spoke to him in the week and he's very excited about these opportunities and very hungry to keep working for the club. Just wondering what you've made of him as a player and actually as somebody who's been involved in the international game as well, what that experience will do for him as a young player.
Well, I think well, first of all, we really like Casey, and sort of contradicts a little bit of some decision making, and that's, you know, maybe a different story of numbers and squad and things like that. But we really like Casey first and foremost as a professional, and how he applies himself to training and to the program that we put in place. He very much gives his all, and you know, that's always a starting point. And you know, the lad obviously has some really strong attributes that will help him have a good career. He will, you know, there's no doubt about that. So to answer your question, at the age and stage of where he's at, any positive experience, whether it be with us or with Ireland, is good, you know, because that's what the guys need at this age, is experience to get themselves in a place where they're a fully fledged sort of first team player. And like I said, you know, I really hope we can provide him with the right opportunity, because he deserves it. And if he does, I believe that he will take it and fulfil his potential.
Final one from me. You're back at King Power Stadium at the weekend. You've been very open in addressing some of the fan criticism, say you take it on board. I'm wondering what your message is to the Blue Army and the fans that will be there at the weekend. Yeah,
I've just done my program notes earlier, actually, and it's a repeat of that. It's about continuing, because they have done, is to get behind the team, you know. I don't worry too much about myself. I've always put the greater good of the club first in good and bad situations. So never once have I walked into work and thought about, what does this mean for me today? It's just not in me. I'm not about my own brand as a manager. I'm always like for the club that I work for, and that's the players and the staff and the supporters. So, you know, yeah, please continue to get behind the team as they have done. You know, there's no doubt about that. I think any sort of challenge or critique or criticism has come towards me and not the players, and that's if it is out there, then that's how I would prefer it. Because you know, when I think about the second half at Spurs, you know, I think, and even you know, as poor as we played in that first half at Everton, when we were chasing to get back into the game, the atmosphere really pushed us through, you know, or pulled us through, I should say, in getting something out of the game. Not exactly all that we wanted, but something out of the game. And you know, I look at how involved they got in the Aston Villa game as well, and you know, we need that, because I really saw the players respond to that. So it's on us to give them something to continue to support, and that's why I said in an earlier question, you know, I'm just desperate to win at the King Power for the supporters, so they can walk out the stadium and enjoy the rest of their weekend, you know, feeling good about their team's result, because them things really important to me. So yeah, the stuff about me personally is not in my mind. Just really want to make sure that the lads put on a performance that the crowd can get behind, because they already are behind the team, and make that even stronger.
Cheers, Steve. Good luck for the
You
weekend.
too, mate. Thank you.
Jack, we'll finish this section.
Steve, you're not
No.
having much luck at the moment. Hamza's injury again this week. How has that affected you, and what do you think of Hamza?
Yeah, a lot of respect for Hamza. He's well, first and foremost, you know, we fingers crossed that his injury is, you know, it's definitely quite a significant injury to sort of dislocate your shoulder, but sometimes they can recover quicker than maybe not being so complicated. So fingers crossed, once everything settles and it can really scan it properly, then it's not as severe as it sometimes can be. Yeah, you know, I respect Hamza's journey. I respect how long he's been at the club, and you know, becoming the player and the man that he is. And he's a really positive, popular guy around the dressing room, has a role to play, of course. And you know, it's always important to have players who have come through, the ranks in any club, and he's an example of that. So so I spoke to him last night on sort of a video call just to see how he was after yesterday, and he was upbeat and positive, and that's a good example of the type of guy he is, really.
And you've been very positive. We talked about glass half full at the start of this press conference. Are the heads down because, results haven't gone your way? Because, to be honest, you've nearly won most games.
Yeah.
So the frustration, could creep in.
Yeah.
Are the heads down, or how?
For the players?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, listen, we're not like... definitely not heads down. 100% not heads down. And definitely not of the mindset of we've done okay in certain games, we'll be all right either. It's the both of them sort of feelings are dangerous, of sort of hiding away and losing confidence and not facing up to it, and also thinking, okay, next game we'll be all right, next game we'll be all right. That's dangerous mentality. I really do believe we're in the middle of that, where we've been frustrated with how we haven't been able to get more out of a game than what we'd have liked, and at times what we could have, and I see a constant determination and focus to put things right. So I know you're always constantly observing that. It's not just about sort of in terms of training. It's not just about tactical work and physical work and all of the other things that we think about in terms of a training program. It's also about making sure that the mindset is right with the players and that we're taking responsibility for the situation, but at the same time really believing that we can do what we want to do this year. And I really believe that will happen. I'm absolutely convinced about it, but we've got to make it that way.
And when you say that, what do you want to achieve this season? I think at the start of it, certainly with a points deduction looming, we're talking about relegation, but actually the club's had a huge boost because that's gone away.
Yeah, the landscape's definitely changed on that front. So it's no longer a talking point for sure. But as I said, even when that was maybe looming over us, it wasn't interfering with our daily work either. So in terms of, and we'll keep it in-house because it's a goal-setting meeting that's just for the players and the staff who are in that meeting. What we want to achieve is still very much achievable and something we're still very much aiming for. And for sure, when we achieve it, and however we were going to achieve it, we're always going to look back and go, it was a bit of a rocky road and we got through that spell and this spell was good and all that sort of stuff. So, that's how it is. We've at the moment just got to make sure that we try and turn things around results-wise and push on. But that first win is the key.
Just finally for me, we've been chatting to Caleb Okoli this week and had great things to say about his time. He's enjoying it. How much potential do you think he's got?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I mean, he's a young player coming from, obviously speaks good English, as you would have sort of found out the other day, but he is a young player and he's come from a completely different country and coming into the Premier League. It's always a transition. It's all, supporters would have seen that with many players over the years, and some guys transition quicker than others, and I believe he still is going through that transition. But what I see with him is an unbelievable attitude, like so focused, so about the team. Doesn't get too hard on himself when he makes mistakes. He recovers from mistakes and shows great bravery. If he gives a simple pass away, he's keen to get on the ball again, and just a massive desire to defend, So for me, I think that for in terms of an asset for the club, being at the age he's at, he's had a good start, knowing that he's got so much potential and improvement to fulfill as well, and he's going to be good to work with because of how he applies himself every day and how engaged he is in his performance and how much, and he's also really bought into the club and to the city and what it stands for, and it's the type of guy that you want. But as always, he's particularly at this club, he's at the start, and he's got to make sure that he works hard to stay on the right path and improve.